Hello and welcome to Sherry Hales Ministries. I'm Sherry Hales, and today we will be continuing with the new video series entitled Cultivating Spiritual Fruit. So, the previous video was pretty much an introduction. So, today we'll go ahead and get into it, and I'll actually be going through each of the fruit of the Spirit. And we'll talk about each fruit of the Spirit. There are 9 fruit of the Spirit, and we'll talk about each one with each video. So I just want to start my reading today, 1 Corinthians 13, 4-8. I'm going to read the New International Version of that. So the New International Version says, "Love is patient, love is kind. It does not boast, it is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails, but where there are prophecies, they will cease. Where there are tongues, they will be stilled. Where there is knowledge, it will pass away." So again, that is from the New International Version. If you have other versions, some versions say charity instead of love, but it's the same thing. Okay, so we're going to focus on love. So let's see. So this is basically giving us the definition of what love is. So, in today's society, people use the word love very, very loosely. You know, um, love can be used for anything. I love my shoes. I love my new curtains. It can be anything. I love my this new perfume I have. I love that. So you know and I'm not going to say that it's wrong to say that you love those things. I mean, I guess in that when people use it like that, they're just saying it's something that they really, really, really enjoy a lot. And but I guess it would be difficult to say I really, really, really enjoy my new, or I'm really fond of. And so in society, just in having conversations with people, we come up, cultures, people come up with ways to say things to help relay what they mean in a way that is understandable to other people. So, if you look back at some older television shows, like really old ones, you'll hear phrases that we don't use anymore because they passed away. So different cultures come up with different phrases, and sometimes, and it helps sometimes with communication, but sometimes in doing that, the real meaning of the word gets watered down to the point that it doesn't really hold the gravity of its true meaning anymore. And that's very true with the word love. Love is also a name of God. God is love. He himself is love. It's not that he just possesses love. He embodies love. His essence and being is love. So God is love. And here in First Corinthians, the writer of First Corinthians, the Apostle Paul, is telling us, he's breaking down, the different qualities of love. So love is it is God. So it is a person. Love is a person. Um, and love is also, it has properties to it. So it is also a thing. So these things embody the true essence and character of what love is. So it's telling us that love is patient. So when we are acting, when we are acting, um, uh, you know, in a situation, it can be any type of situation. When you as a person embody um, that spiritual fruit of love, it it will it will restrain you. It will restrain you from, maybe acting in a way that's unseemly, because the spiritual fruit of love has been cultivated within you, and it can supersede, um, maybe uh, a knee-jerk reaction. So some people act out of a knee-jerk reaction with just about anything. They are not disciplined or cultivated, and their responses are off the cuff. Their responses and reactions are, they are whatever is the first impulse, basically. But when God is cultivating these spiritual fruit within us, He's doing such a deep work that it it goes down into the core of who we actually are, and begins to alter the way that we think, the way that we perceive, the way that we look at others, the way that we receive information, the way that we respond to situations, circumstances, um, and it goes deep. When He begins to till the hardened soil of of a heart that has just been hardened by life, been hardened by just situations and circumstances, and just the day in and day out things that happen that can make people, become put up a shell, or almost become enclosed in a shell in a lot of ways, because they're trying to protect themselves from, you know, um, from getting hurt. Sometimes people that have gone through different relationships, um, and been hurt because their heart was exposed. Their heart was, you know, in a way to be open and receptive, and the person that they opened their heart to abused it, and so as a response, they began to almost like scar tissue developing, um, as a hard surface to protect one's core, one's innermost self, from further hurt, from further abuse, from sadness, from tears, um, and so a response sometimes to life and to experiences and situations and how you've been, made to feel, people as a result will become hardened. Um, but once we accept God into our lives, one thing we'll find with Him is that He is safe. God will never abuse our emotions. He will never play games with our heart. He will never do something to harm us. He's a gentle, caring, considerate, loving, concerned Father, friend, helper, comforter. He's always there to do good. And so when he comes in and he begins to till the hardened soil of a heart that has been hardened by scar tissues of life, because it hasn't been appreciated, it has, it's been hurt repeatedly sometimes, and God will come in and till the soil so that love can develop again in a safe place, in a safe way. Because not only does he develop that love, that true love, but this type of love that he will seed within our heart is a love that has qualities within it um, to protect itself. So as we grow in this spiritual love, this love that is from God, from our Father, not an earthly love, not a love that, oh, I love my shoes, I love my socks, I love my pocketbook, you know, not a superficial type of love. This is a life altering type of love. This is a personality changing type of love. This is a love that I don't know, I want to say it gives you a backbone. It gives you a strength. It gives you a fortitude. Everything that God provides is different than what another human being can give you, because he's the maker. He's the one that made you. Think about just something as simple as, and yet as profound as, life itself. No one else can give life to another. That comes from God and God alone. So God can do things that no other can do. He can give us love. He can do things that another cannot do for us. So this love that I'm talking about, that the Bible is talking about and telling us about, is a different type of love. And it is something that God will seed in your heart. And it is something that it will naturally begin to sprout within you, within a sincere heart that truly wants to know God, that truly wants to love God. Because he will implant these seeds and they'll start sprouting and they'll start taking root. And so it's a marvelous thing, but this is telling us the qualities that this type of love has. And actually, this right here is the only real love. Other stuff can be called love, but if it's not this, that's not the true definition of what love actually is. So within this love that he'll seed in our heart, it has patience within it. So you don't have like these knee-jerk actions or responses that, are uncontrollable. And sometimes even if you do have a knee-jerk response, if you have the seed of love, if love is rooted in you, you can pull back from that, because you'll quickly realize, oh, that's not the right response that I should have. And it will kind of check you. It'll get you in check again, so that not that we don't have bad days, and not, we're not perfect. So none of this that we're learning about is, oh, it must be done with 100% accuracy at all times. We're human beings, so that's never going to happen while we're here on earth. So that's not what this is about. So it's not about now starting to measure yourself and, oh, did I do this one with 100% accuracy, and so that's not it. this is just moving in that direction, like we talked about in another video, following the golden paved road, staying on the golden paved road. So as we are journeying in life on the golden paved road, things of God are on that road. And it doesn't mean that, we we have arrived or attained anything. It is a journey. It's a step by step journey, day by day. So just keep walking along that path. That's all it is. Keep walking in the right direction. Says love is kind. So this love that God puts in our hearts will have an element of kindness to it. I'm not going to try to define each thing because we know what these things mean. So it will have patience. It will have kindness. It says it does not boast. So, you'll see some people that love to boast and brag and put their things that they feel are superior to others, things that they feel are, you know, like a trophy, and they're constantly putting those things in the forefront. Sometimes they do it in a way as if they're not really boasting, but yet they somehow make sure to put those things in the forefront. You know, if that's what they need to do, maybe that's where they are in their lives at that point. And they still, I mean, we're human. Maybe they're still struggling, but that's not a quality of godly love. That's not a seed that God planted in anyone. Um, so it's not proud. Um, so, and that's different than having a sense of being pride because you have having a sense of accomplishment and feeling proud that you accomplished something. That's different than what this is talking about. This proud is similar to the boasting type thing. It's like it's a spirit of haughtiness. So being you know happy, having a sense of accomplishment and achievement is fine, but this haughty proudness, this haughtiness where it's in your face type of thing, that's ridiculous. And that's not a sense of that's not within the seed of anything that God will put in your heart. That's not a characteristic of love. It says it does not dishonor others. So it speaks for itself. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. Not saying that it's not anger. We all get angry sometimes, and rightly so. Some things you should become angry about when you see things that are not right, or but this is something, it's saying it's not easily angered. Some people are angry at the drop of a dime, anything, and then you have to try to appease them or get on their good side or whatever. Some people are, they're angry and they lash out at anything, lash out at animals and anything, and they're just easily angered. That's not good. It's not healthy. It's not safe. Says it keeps no record of wrongs. Some people keep a running list in their mind of wrongs, which is actually just not healthy. Because because when you're keeping that, that's what is in the forefront of your mind. So you're keeping this somewhere in your mind, a list of wrongs. How does that help you to do that? It just doesn't. If someone has wronged you, then take the actions that need to be taken. Even if it's saying, I feel that you've wronged me, and therefore, XYZ or whatever. But but to hold a mental of wrongs. Somebody may feel that you wronged them, and they may be keeping, and you may not have intended to wrong them. Sometimes things come down to perception. Sometimes things are misunderstandings. So it's just telling you, it keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil. So people that love for evil to happen to everyone except for them, and everyone except for the people they like. There are people like that, and they enjoy evil and bad fortune happening to others. That's not a characteristic of God. That's not a characteristic of love. Rejoices with the truth. So it rejoices with what is true, not what is convenient, not what I want it to be like. Or, no, it rejoices with what is true because it is true. Um, so it doesn't need to twist things to make it be what they want it to be. No, they rejoice in what is actually the truth. It always protects. So that kind of goes back to what I was talking about before with how some people have become, their hearts have almost built like a scar tissue because their heart has been vulnerable and it has been hurt so many times. So it's telling you here, this love though will protect. It's not going to hurt you. This type of real love that God seeds in the heart protects, and it even protects you. It protects your own heart. Um, it always trusts. So it's not, and that's not saying that it's in a position of being deceived, because it talked about it rejoices in the truth before. Okay, so you can see if this love wants things that are true, but it also trusts. So it's not like I believe that you are bad until you prove to me that you're good. It's not that. It's giving someone the benefit. I mean, not making yourself vulnerable to put yourself in a position where you can be hurt, but you're not going to just at the outset look at somebody and say, oh, I think they look like this, and start thinking of evil things about someone. People do that. They'll take a look at somebody, and based on some thought that pops in their head, they act like that's how that person is. It's like you don't even know that person, and yet your thought about them is now somehow true, and you have no idea who that person is, what their background is, what their struggles have been, what their challenges have been, what they've overcome. You have no clue about that person. Yet all of a sudden, you looked at them, thought up something, and now you think that's true, and you're treating them as if they did something based on a thought that came through your head. That's ridiculous. Um, so this love has trust. It doesn't assume the worst in someone. Um, it always hopes. So this love has hope. When people lose hope, that's a dangerous place to be. This love, when you let this seed of love be cultivated in you, in your heart, you will always have hope. Isn't that a beautiful thing? I mean, the things that God provides for us is simply amazing. Um, and it's not anything that any other person can do. It's only from God. This love right here, when it takes root in your heart, you'll always have hope. You'll never have to worry about becoming hopeless, because you'll always have hope. It says it always perseveres. So it doesn't give up. It doesn't feel like, oh, well, this is so difficult, I'm just going to give up. It doesn't do that. It keeps on persevering and trying, even in the face of difficulties. And it says it never fails. This love will never, ever fail. And that doesn't mean that you will always get what you want. It's not about that. It's about this love. All of these things that it's saying that it is, if you allow this seed to grow within you, it will be just that. All of those things, and it will never fail. It will be just that, all of these things within you. All of these things will come to fruition. It is a fruit. Think about an apple seed. An apple seed will not fail. Think about it this way. It's not going to produce a watermelon. It will produce an apple. And that's what this means, that it will never fail. The fruit that will develop will be love, and it will have all of these, think of it as nutrients. All of the nutrients and nourishment within an apple. These are the nutrients that are within the fruit of love. So let it grow within you. Let God cultivate that hard soil. Let him till the ground. Let him plant that seed of love, which is actually himself, because he is love. And let it begin to sprout, and let it take root, let it grow, and let it bear fruit in only the way that God can cause it to do. So I want to now go on. There is a story in the Bible, and I thought when I was thinking about love, this story came to my mind, and it's found in First Kings chapter 3, verses 16 to 28. So I want to go there and read that. This story, I mean, there are plenty of things that I could have, gone to, but it's interesting. First Kings 3, 16 to 28. Okay. So I'm going to read it. Okay, it's actually pretty long. This is about King Solomon, and he was acting in the capacity of a judge. So listen to this story. 1 Corinthians chapter 3, starting at verse 16. And I'll read down to 28. It says, Then came there 2 women that were harlots unto the king, and stood before him. And the one woman said, O my lord, I and this woman dwell in one house, and I was delivered of a child with her in the house. And it came to pass the 3rd day after that I was delivered, that this woman was delivered also. And we were together. There was no stranger with us in the house, save we 2 in the house. And this woman's child died in the night, because she overlaid it. And she rose at midnight, and took my son from beside me, while thine handmaid slept, and laid it in her bosom, and laid her dead child in my bosom. And when I rose in the morning to give my child suck, behold, it was dead. But when I had considered it in the morning, behold, it was not my son which I did bear. And the other woman said, Nay, but the living is my son, and the dead is thy son. And this said, No, but the dead is thy son, and the living is my son. Thus they spake before the king. Then said the king, The one saith, This is my son that liveth, and thy son is the dead? And the other saith, Nay, but thy son is the dead, and my son is the living. And the king said, Bring me a sword. And they brought a sword before the king. And the king said, Divide the living child in two, and give half to the one, and half to the other. Then spake the woman whose the living child was unto the king, for her bowels yearned upon her son. And she said, O my lord, give her the living child, and in no wise slay it. But the other said, Let it be neither mine nor thine, but divided. Then the king answered and said, Give her the living child, and in no wise slay it. She is the mother thereof. And all Israel heard of the judgment which the king had judged, and they feared the king, for they saw that the wisdom of God was in him to do judgment. So that's, that's a horrific story. It's profound. But I thought that, it just demonstrated a true mother's love, the love of a mother. And when we started this series, I actually said that we started it on Mother's Day, and I said, a true mother's heart, a godly mother, whether whether she calls herself a Christian or not, but she will embody the qualities that are within the fruit of the Spirit naturally. It will, if she is a godly woman, these qualities of the fruit of the Spirit will develop in a godly mother's heart. And so, let's see. So I want to compare the story that I just read to the definition of what 1 Corinthians told us about love. So the story of the mothers. In the story, we see patience. In the face of an overwhelmingly tragic situation, the true mother displayed patience. And instead of confronting the other woman and creating a situation with even more problems, she displayed patience and waited to bring her case before the king. So she was undoubtedly hurt, but not easily angered. And that's another quality. Patience was a quality of the fruit of love. So she was undoubtedly hurt, but not easily angered. That's another quality, or we'll call it a nutrient. As we're talking about fruit, this is one of the nutrients in the fruit of love, not easily angered. So she was not easily angered, which would have possibly caused her to become quarrelsome if she had been. So she did not delight in evil. She didn't delight in evil. It's another nutrient from the fruit of love. She did not delight in evil. In remaining calm, she also protected her child, as the other woman may have harmed the child in anger. So she displayed she had that nutrient of protection. It was there. So she displayed hope. That's another nutrient. And trust and perseverance, all nutrients of the fruit of love, because she was hopeful that the truth would be revealed and she would be able to rejoice in the truth. That's another nutrient of the fruit, being able to rejoice in the truth. As the true mother presented her case before the king, She never dishonored the other woman. That's another nutrient in the fruit. She was not boastful or proud. Another nutrient. She had no record of wrongs to try to disparage the other woman's character. So she didn't come with a list of, oh, this woman has done this before and this and this and this. She didn't do that. She had no record of wrongs to try to disparage the woman's character, and she remained kind. That's another nutrient of the fruit of love. And even when the king pronounced a horrifying verdict, she was not self-seeking. She was not self-seeking, and her steadfast display of love caused the king to see the truth. And when I say she was not self-seeking, she said, "Oh, give her the child. Don't hurt the child. Just give it to her." So at that point she let it go. She was like, even if I can't raise my own child, even if I can't have my own child, her love protected her child. And she said, "Oh no, just give her the child," because she didn't want the child to be hurt, and she was not self-seeking. And it says, and her steadfast display of love caused the king to see the truth. And for her, love did not fail. And a righteous and just judgment prevailed. So even though that was an intense story, I just thought it brought out that love, that I just thought it just demonstrated love so well. So that's it for today. I love was the first characteristic or nutrient. I'll call it a nutrient of the spiritual fruit. So I just want to pray for us. Lord, just bless us and help us to develop love within us. I just ask, Lord, that you would bless us and keep us, make your face shine upon us, be gracious to us, Lord. Lift up your countenance upon each and every one of us, God. Give us peace, Lord. Every one of us that hears this video, whether it be today or tomorrow or whenever it may be, I just ask that you will plant the spiritual fruit of love within their heart, and that it would just grow and just bless them and protect them, and just give them love, God. Just give us all love, and help us to love one another and treat each other with love and godly kindness. I thank you, Lord, and I bless you, and I thank all of you for spending this time with me. Be blessed.